What week is it? Welcome to week 4 of reading every book, short story, poem, and play on the planet. So I didn't read too much this week. I've been very focused on school stuff, and I've been really tired in the afternoons because I've been waking up at 4:30, and I'm not kidding, I've woken up at 4:30 every day this week. And I've reached the point where I'm used to it. Like, I wake up at 4:30 wide awake, and it's great. The only downside is you get really tired early, and my body is forcing me to go to bed at 8, which is arguably not a bad thing. It is really nice to be able to be up so early. It's really peaceful. So I read 2 books this week. I almost finished 2 other books, but they're probably going to be part of next week's list because there's no way I'm finishing them today. Both of them are Trials of Apollo books by Rick Riordan. First one is The Burning Maze. The Burning Maze is the 3rd book in the Trials of Apollo series by Rick Riordan, and it's set out west. You know, it's just another continuation of the series. The 4th book is The Tyrant's Tomb, and this is, yet again, another continuation of the series. Something crazy does happen that really beat me up, but I can't tell you because it would be a massive spoiler. I ended up reading one play this week for my British literature class. It's Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. If you don't know anything about Marlowe, he was a playwright and poet that was writing at the same time as Shakespeare, which means that he was kind of in Shakespeare's shadow, even though if he was born at a different time, he would have been, considered up there with Shakespeare. I read 3 short stories this week. One of which was The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas by Ursula K. Le Guin, which is a really odd short story about this utopia. And the only way that it can exist as a utopia is by pretty much torturing this one child. And it's kind of about how the people deal with that and how there are some people who disagree with that so much that they walk away, but nobody knows exactly where they're going. The second short story I read was called Inconstant Moon, and it is by Larry Niven. He's the same guy that wrote Ringworld, if you know anything about that. Great science fiction. And Inconstant Moon is about a guy who notices that the moon is significantly brighter, and at first it's just this beautiful thing, and then he comes to the realization that the moon is reflecting the sun, and if the sun's brighter, then something bad is happening. And it delves into human reactions, especially towards a nova or a solar flare. And it is just really interesting and very reminiscent of like a natural disaster story or movie. And yeah, it was just really good. And then the 3rd short story is called The Dreaming City by Michael Moorcock. It's the first story that Michael Moorcock wrote about the character named Elric of Melnivone. I hadn't heard of him, but is apparently a very well-known fantasy character. It's very much fantasy, very anti-Tolkien. It's not against Tolkien, but it is against the ideas that Tolkien talks about of like black and white, good and evil. And it is very much an anti-hero. And if you know anything about his Eternal Champion multiverse type thing, this is the first short story that really talks about that. On top of all of those, I read 28 different poems, most of which were Shakespeare sonnets. Most of my reading is for my classes, but yeah, life's been going good. Thank you for watching week 4. If you want to see all the things that I've read, there is a link to the attachment of a spreadsheet. And yeah, I will see you next week.